Hello everybody, it's Verda here. Today we're going to be benchmarking Fortnite in performance mode using the GTX 1060 3GB edition of the graphics card with the Intel Core i7-4790K with 16GB of DDR3 1600MHz RAM. I have the current latest NVIDIA drivers, so with that, let's jump on in. So to get us started here in Fortnite, we're going to be playing at 1080p. We are using 100% resolution scale with the lowest settings here. We've got the meshes turned off as well. So let's see how this performs here in Fortnite. And because I don't play Fortnite, I'm going to be playing the zero build mode, just because I personally find it more enjoyable for when I actually benchmark this game. So here we are in Fortnite. I just got a kill. I wasn't actually recording, so it's all good. But we are absolutely CPU bound here at lowest settings 1080p. As you can see, GPU usage is at around 60%. So this CPU is not able to actually push this GPU to being maxed out here in performance mode. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. If you have a much more modern budget end CPU, you'll probably see more performance than this. Because yeah, this CPU, even though it was very powerful when it came out, it's just not that good these days. Even like budget end CPUs that are pretty new, that are costing like $100 or $150 or something like that, they're gonna outperform this CPU. So just do bear that in mind here. But yeah, it's not like it's bad FPS here. It's pretty good, to be honest. 160, 170. In terms of VRAM usage, it's allocating 1.6 gigs to the game right now, but in actual usage, it's only using less than 1 gig of VRAM to run the game. So yeah, performance mode is a pretty big difference to regular Fortnite in terms of performance usage, or PC requirements, that is, or GPU requirements especially. But yeah, our actual RAM usage, we're down to 8 gigs. I did recently benchmark this setup in Fortnite in regular mode, and essentially I was getting like 10 to 11 gigs RAM usage in that one. So we are seeing about 3 gigs less RAM usage, which might not sound like it's that much, but for people on a budget end, maybe you're on a laptop that's only got 8 gigs of RAM or something, you know, you're gonna have a much better time here. Clearly completely CPU bound here with these settings. Let's why don't we go ahead and try out 1440p here, because it's gonna be more than playable, I no doubt about it. All right, so I've gone ahead and swapped it over to 1440p now. We're still playing with the lowest settings, of course. Let's see how it plays here. And as to be expected, we are still CPU bound. Now, we're almost completely GPU bound, to be honest. And our FPS has decreased a bit, but it could be because we're in a different area. As you can see, stuttering as I load up into this area. Even in performance mode, there's still stuttering issues. Nowhere near as many as regular Fortnite, but still stuttering issues, which is just so annoying when you just want to play the game, right? It looks like somebody's been here, because that car does not look like it should spawn there. Yeah, VRAM usage, no doubt, did creep up a little bit, but since we're using such a small amount of VRAM anyways, it looks like it's not made a huge difference. We're still under a gig of VRAM, so I don't think I really need to talk about that too much, since it's so far, like, within the limits of this GPU. It's completely fine. CPU usage, we are at like 80%, which is kind of insane. What is going on here? Oh god. Ah! He didn't... I don't think so, son. Wait, are they teaming? Fly, goddammit! Oh my god. I'm nearly dead. There's so much fighting going on here. Let's go and find some heals. We are completely, we're still completely CPU bound. Almost at a GPU limitation, but not quite. So yeah, I think that'll do it for 1440p. It's still completely fine. And it's not like the CPU's bottlenecking at really terrible CPU usage. We are at like 80, 85%. So it's using a lot of CPU. It's not like it's just, you know, using nothing essentially. It's nice to see that it does utilize a decent amount. And I haven't reloaded my guns because I'm an absolute genius. Alright guys, so now we're benchmarking 1080p. I've gone ahead and set everything to the maximum settings here, as you can see, and I've set the meshes on as well. That's why we're back in the main menu. You can't do this unless you come back to the main menu. And so yeah, I don't think it's worth playing on epic settings or anything if you're going to play with performance mode. I'm sure the vast majority of you are playing performance mode on the lowest settings just to get as much FPS as possible. But just out of interest, I'm going to test it here because we were GPU bound as well at 1080p and 1440p. So just out of curiosity, we're going to try the highest ones here too. So let's jump back into a game. So here we are back in the game. I've been playing for a little bit just to make sure there was no like stuttering and stuff going on from when you first load into a game. And as you can see, we're getting pretty similar GPU usage here as we were getting at the lowest settings. Now, the settings definitely did apply, because if you look at the VRAM, we're actually at 1.3 gigs VRAM usage right now at 1080p. So the settings absolutely did apply, because I did go back to the main menu and apply them there and then load it back into another game, right? So yeah, we're seeing pretty much identical FPS here as we were getting previously, which is to be expected because we are still, you know, CPU bound here with these settings. It's just surprising to me that performance for the GPU at least has stayed pretty consistent, even though we have actually increased. Oh my god, you sneaky little. This is definitely a player. I mean, that has got to have been a bot. How could I not hear that guy? But anyways, if you're wondering how I didn't see him, by the way, I barely pay attention while I'm benchmarking. It takes a lot of your attention span to benchmark, because a lot of the time I'm not looking at the game, I'm looking over at my benchmarking software. So yeah, but it's pretty identical here with these settings in terms of performance. The game is definitely smoothing out over time. The longer I'm playing, the game is just getting really much smoother. Like right now, I'm not seeing anything wrong with the game's frame time graph or anything, but I'm sure if I was to start driving to new locations, I would start seeing some performance issues, most likely. All right, so we're on the bus on the next match, and we are playing at 1440p now, and I've got the settings still at epic, as you can see. Let's see how it performs here. Yeah, even here at 1440p, with the maximum settings, we're still not GPU bound. And it looks like I've come to a much more intensive CPU, or a much more CPU intensive area. What is happening here? Oh my god, why is there only 2 shots? Come on. Clearly a bot, I mean. But yeah, it's clearly very CPU intensive here. We're almost GPU bound, but in terms of actual GPU usage, for the lowest settings and the highest settings, it doesn't look like it really changed that much. The only thing that really changed is VRAM usage. Our VRAM has gone up to just under 1.5 gigs. I don't know why I said it like that. It's gone to nearly 1.5 gigs of VRAM usage, but still completely fine for a 3 gig card. CPU usage is still obviously the biggest issue here, since we are always CPU bound, but it's not like it's terrible FPS. It's just a shame that we're not seeing a complete, you know, it's just a shame that we're not seeing like complete utilization of the GPU, even on the highest settings here in performance mode. But it's still not a bad experience. It's still playing completely fine, obviously. But yeah, the game has definitely smoothed out a hell of a lot since I've been playing for like an hour plus now in Fortnite. So you do need to play Fortnite for a little bit to get the stutters to go away completely. Like, you need to load the map up a few times essentially and keep playing. And then eventually Fortnite will actually start playing properly and stop stuttering, essentially, is what I've found. Yeah, that's going to do it for today, I think, for Fortnite. It's clearly completely fine here in performance mode with this kind of a GPU. But if you do want to see much higher FPS, you are going to need either a much more modern budget end CPU or just a better CPU in general, right? So just bear that in mind if you are going to pick up this GPU and you've got a weak CPU or just not a very modern CPU. It might struggle to get the frame rate that you're after, basically. You might be disappointed, so just do bear that in mind when you are actually picking up this GPU, or if you're going to pick one of these up. It can play Fortnite totally fine. Just make sure you've got a CPU that's more than capable too. And in all honesty, this FPS, even though we are CPU bound pretty heavily here, it's not a bad experience, guys. The game's really smooth. We're at 150 plus FPS most of the time. Averages are actually at 145. But yeah, it's more than fine. So thanks for checking out the video. If you found any use out of this, go ahead and leave me a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, take care of yourselves and goodbye for now.